Okay, could I shift gear a little bit? I wanted to get your perspectives on our current workforce. I'll start with John. Other countries that you've worked in, what do you see as the strengths and the development needs of our workforce today to be ready for tomorrow? And how can they undertake learning to get themselves ready?
I think one thing we see in Singapore is a huge focus on technical skills and very, very educated individuals. And we see that being a really core foundation of being in Singapore. You have a huge amount of technical people. Technology has a high appreciation here and people with depth of skills. So if we think about the future need and our most successful people, what are some of those attributes that we want to aspire to, or how do we grow? Rather than talking about deficiencies, what makes our best Dyson leaders the best? A lot of it's around that ability to speak out and not being scared to fail. If I look at a lot of the times, I probably will ask the stupidest question in the room. And that's okay, right? Because a lot of other people are thinking that. So how can we have a culture that allows people to speak out more freely, engage in the conversation? Because we want to create leaders of the future. They have to be engaged in that dialogue. So they have to be prepared to fail, and they have to not worry about that. Equally, we really want to have people with a global perspective, really to understand where different countries are in the world in terms of the kind of problems they might have and things that might motivate them. So we think people who have travelled and had a global perspective really stand head and shoulders above the rest. The other thing as well is around that early stage innovation and research, where that truly is happening around in the world, the inspiration from art or through more softer type of skills is very, very important. So how do we give people more of a innovative, creative type leadership is, I think, the opportunity for Singapore in the future, but it's built on sorts of solid foundation. I think there's going to be a huge success.
What about yourself, Fionn?
Yeah, so much about hard skills, which we talked about earlier, and John, you touched on that as well. And I think that you can't replace some of the hard skills that is essential. But I think the soft skill is what we covered a whole bit earlier. Like even in a Slido earlier, we talked about what are the skills that is essential for the future of work. And we hear a lot about the skill of the ability to learn agility. We talk about, problem solving. I think the best people I've seen are the ones that is able to connect the dot and be able to solve problems. The one that is system thinking, not just thinking about their current job, but thinking about the current problems, but they think about they're ahead in terms of being able to see what could potentially go wrong and be able to prepare for the next best action. So I think apart from the hard skills, is the soft skills of creative thinking, the ability to collaborate, the ability to solve problems. Those are the skills that is actually really essential.
In the future, we need to bring learning and work closer together. So what do you see as the roles of lifelong learning institutions such as ourselves and industry and enterprises like yourselves to bring learning and work closer together to help our people be successful?
If I took at Dyson, learning, innovation, research, creativity is kind of the core of everything we do. And I think for us as a business and to be successful, you need to know where you want to drive depth and where you want to collaborate. So I think driving on certain, either functions or research or product areas is kind of where we would go naturally deep ourselves internally, because we're very, protective of our IP. But I think for more of that baselining across different industries, I think we would look to institutions such as yourself is to bring us a different perspective. Where do we baseline? And then how could you help to, cross-pollinate between different disciplines? Because in a way, competing with a company like Dyson, where innovation and research is the core, in certain areas we would look to invest in that as part of a long-term pipeline. But other areas where it's not maybe core to us is a great opportunity, I think, for collaboration and institutions to change. Equally, how can you help through people's career journeys to help at all those different stages on areas maybe that we would not invest in. If we were focused more on early careers, maybe there's a resetting of mindset, expectation, or something new that you could bring to the table.
Yeah, so at LinkedIn, we actually provide learning opportunities for every organizations and every job seekers as well. And that's actually really important point on how we go about doing it. Because actually, as I mentioned earlier, we have 850 million of our members on our platform. But at the same time, we also have jobs from companies that is posted on LinkedIn. And along with that jobs, we know what are the skills that are in demand. And because we know the skills that are in demand, we then know how to develop courses to meet the demands of the companies. And very often, you find that there continues to be huge shortage. Like there's millions of jobs that is still left unfilled because there's not enough of the people to meet the skills that the companies are looking for. So that's one thing. Coming to your question then is, how does organizations like yourself help and support the society as we constantly evolve? I think like what you're doing today is truly effective, right? I mean, to be totally integrated with the industry, knowing what the organizations are looking for and helping organizations to equip the next generation of leaders and workforce so as to prepare them for what the companies are looking for. And secondly, I would say that using our data and insights to actually help prepare. Because on one hand, it is good to actually be very involved with the companies. I think if you can supplement that with understanding of the trends of what's upcoming and supplement that with all the courses that is mobile or, being able to shop, is modular so that it's easy for people to consume. Those are the kind of learning courses that people would find it easy to digest.
Great advice, thank you. What would you say to your future self 20 years from now in the realm of the future of learning? Maybe not 20
years from now.
10 years.
The world is constantly evolving, and I think I constantly feel like I'm in this place where I feel like there's so much evolution, right? Like, I think when I first started workforce, computer is still a new thing. And then internet, and then Y2K. And then, a whole series of things, and even pandemic. I don't know, the next 20 years is gonna be really interesting. Artificial intelligence, the whole of 3D printing, bringing reality in a virtual world. I would just add that, I would say that relationships is so important. I think in the midst of where our work, success really comes about because of how everyone works together and help you to get to where you are. Because it is the people that have believed in you, that has invested in you to help you get to where you are. And in the same way, it is how we constantly invest in our future generation to help them in their future, in how they contribute to the society as well. So I do think that in the midst of all the technology change, it boils down to how people work together.
Thank you. I think that really resonates as well. John, what about you?
I think at the moment, we're kind of used to change at Dyson, right? That's the only thing which has been constant with working with James is that drive for change and improvement. I think now more than ever, we're looking to create those teams who can collaborate globally. So now's the right team to choose the team around you who are going to want to make more, transformational change rather than, now is the time for disruption. So I think for me, spreading that message and getting people to live that is kind of really my critical success factor. How do I do that with a team of 1,600 people who all need to be engaged on that, right? And some of that change will be seen to be positive, and there'll be exciting things, but equally you need to front into some of those more challenging, uncertain roles, and create that environment of trust, two-way dialogue, so that the things that are less exciting, more daunting, that we can have forums to talk about together as a team. I think that's the most important thing, is we front into the challenge together.
Okay, so I think wonderful, engaging dialogue. I think in the interest of time, we have to close this up. So I think let's thank both our panelists for your wonderful time and insights today. Thank you.